This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for, and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads, and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae.
And this is our house. Welcome to the House of Hockey podcast, episode 154. I'm one of your hosts, Breezy.
And I'm your other host, Rae. And
we are in the Stanley Cup Final.
It's happening. We had to wait. They gave us 4 off days. What the heck were we supposed to do? But I do have to say that I am just so happy that TNT has the Stanley Cup Final this year. It is so much more fun to watch. The intermission reports and the overall game coverage is just so much better. I'm so happy. Gary Bettman was on the intermission, and I just saw a clip of it. He was like, thank you guys. You make this so entertaining. This is like, you make this intermission and the game and just wonderful for the fans. And Biz was like, oh, that means we're all getting raises. And Gary was like, except for you, Biz, you've got a little too far. So I'm definitely never getting hired by the league in any capacity or ESPN. But either way, Gary agrees with me. So do the rest of the fans. Everybody knows that TNT does it better.
Yeah, I saw so many people, like so many tweets and like headlines where it was like, it was the last game that was played. I don't even remember what it was, but they're like, thank God, no more ESPN.
Seriously.
It's pretty funny.
Well, I was doing our research for the show today, and I was reading, I always check ESPN, I check, the Canada Sportsnet, I check NHL.com just to see like other content that's going on and what's happening. And the article I read recapping the game on ESPN only highlighted Vegas. So like, granted, Vegas won game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, but like Florida had a lot of positives too. They held the game tied 2-2 for most of the game, and there wasn't a single positive comment about the Panthers. And I'm like, where is the journalism here? Like, where is the two-sided approach to like reporting on the game? I mean, obviously Florida lost, so they didn't do everything right, but like, where are like the context of like, okay, here's what they did bad and here's what they could do better. Like, there was nothing in there. It was just like, what happened, but there was no context, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, even when the Knights moved on from the Stars, every single notification I was getting on my phone was just all about Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is like, why? Every headline that was coming through on my phone was Vegas does it again. The first time this has ever happened, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, dude, shut up about Vegas at this point. First of all, I was already bitter, so we all know how I feel about this. But it was just, I don't know, one-sided.
It's
one-sided,
very,
because they should have highlighted what Dallas did too. Like, Dallas did great. They put up a fight. They came back from a lot of things that they probably shouldn't have even come back from by the way that they were playing. But yeah, ESPN, man.
all the first 4 articles are like all about Vegas and how great they are. And they played a really great game. They for sure ended up in the third period really dominating the Panthers, who kind of lost whatever it was, their mojo, a Tkachuk turnover. You can't blame one Tkachuk turnover for the turning point of the game. So, there's a lot of things happening. It's only game 1, but where is the other side of it, right? Which is what I think TNT does better on the broadcast, where they'll be like, okay, so if they're down, let's say Florida's down 4-2, well, they're going to be saying things like, okay, well, here's what the Panthers need to do to improve, or here's what they're not doing right, like to give the context to the fans of like what's going on. Anyway, Vegas is up. And if they win, the Stanley Cup, they will get lifetime lap dances at a strip club in Las Vegas. And I think that is hilarious and so on brand, and I'm here for it. And like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go do that? Like, why wouldn't you take the cup and like go to the strip club? That's one of those stories that we'll never hear, right? Like you have to get
Yeah.
like an insider's report of like the whole team getting lap dances. Like, could you just imagine? I could just see that picture so clear.
It's just so weird. What about the cup getting a lap dance?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know,
That's
man. That just
it's funny. It's just
that is
funny.
funny. That is funny.
It's good stuff. But game 2 has not happened yet since we're recording. That will be happening on Monday night. All the games are on at 8 o'clock Eastern for the rest of the Stanley Cup Final. And we've got some exciting hockey to watch and happen. I think Florida's going to recover to a degree. I think they're going to learn from their mistakes and definitely match better a little bit for
Yeah.
3 full periods moving into game 2. But
Mm-hmm.
the way Vegas came out blazing, man, I mean, Florida did too. I better make sure I cover my coverage here.
Yeah.
Florida did too. They did. But Vegas just had a little something extra in them of their grit, their wanting to kind of
Yeah.
really
But
push it over
take in
the
mind
edge.
too, the Panthers had more off days, off days, give or take, recovery
Yeah.
days, space in between games where Vegas, still's, kind of been warmed up and they kind of just jumped right into it. So I really do think that the Panthers will fight back, like you just said. So we'll see how they learn from their mistakes and how I think that they're going to get more physical.
hmm
I feel like you have to be physical versus Vegas. And I think that's where they're probably going to need to up their game. What do you think?
I think so. I think so. They're
Yeah.
going to have to really push themselves. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Vegas knows what that is, having been in the playoffs before. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're a band of misfits, right? And especially since the team started, they've got that core group of guys, those 6,
Mm-hmm.
they call them the misfits or whatever. And so they're really motivated and driven to prove people wrong of why they are really talented. So they've got that like underlying thing that's driving them. Florida's got the underdog energy. Like they're the
Mm-hmm.
underdog drive, but they don't
Right.
have that experience in this type of situation to know what it takes to really push into that like 5th gear when you need to, when it counts. So we'll see
Yeah,
if they
because
can find it.
when they won the President's Trophy that one year, they didn't make it past the second round? I don't recall. But yeah, they haven't had like a super deep run. So, but I do think that I mean, we said it all along, like it's the chemistry. If you have the chemistry,
Yes.
you guys could do it. And they clearly have that and they clearly want it. And all of the videos that I've seen of people talking to like the players or just any of the interviews, like you could tell that they seem relaxed and that they believe in each other. And I think that's very important when you're playing like this. And Vegas obviously is the same way. I think that they have a little fire under their butt. I mean, the home team advantage, right?
Yeah.
I think that they had a little bit of home team advantage last night, if I'm being completely honest. But there's a lot of hockey still.
There is a lot of hockey still. On a sort of sad note, in the unofficial mascot for the Vegas Golden Knights, Marc-Andre Fleury, has passed away. He is a dog that was named after Marc-Andre Fleury and has done so much for the Vegas community. He goes around to hospitals and it's not a service dog, but like a support animal, right?
Mhm.
But he unfortunately passed away, and it's so sad that it happens to be when the team is, of course, in the finals. So maybe they've got a little bit of bark energy from up above on their side, giving them a little push. So there's that as well. But we need to talk about some firings and hirings. I don't know how I'm
Yes.
supposed to transition from that, but I just trying not to
I know.
cry
Way
about
to
it.
be sad about this. Why did you even say that?
Well, I was trying to make it like a positive that like he's gonna
Okay,
be
ESPN.
watching them from up
Positive
above.
about Vegas all over again.
Listen, I don't have beef with Vegas. Everybody else does. I don't have beef
Hey,
with Vegas.
if all else fails, you're not going to get hired by the NHL or the Chicago Blackhawks, but you can get hired by ESPN. Based on
ESPN's gonna
how,
hire me?
yeah, based on how positive you are about
Vegas?
Vegas.
Okay. Let's hope that they only listen to this episode.
Yeah.
God, that article is still pissing me off. It's like, where's the journal? Like, where did you go to journalism school? Oh, you didn't? It was a staff writer who just like threw shit together in the middle of the night and posted it. And nobody looked at it. Like, you're ESPN. See, don't get me started. It's like, it's so bad. Okay. Let's go into some hirings and firings, and then we're going to end on some positive notes with some winning things coming down the pipe. Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Pittsburgh Penguins hired
Yes.
Kyle Dubas as the president of hockey ops. We all know Dubas was previously working for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We know that that exit didn't go as planned or as nicely as publicly stated. And Mike Sullivan, the coach for the Penguins, is behind Dubas's two-pronged approach that he is saying that he wants to building the Pittsburgh Penguins, not rebuilding, but he wants to build around the core of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang to immediately compete for the Stanley Cup. Now, let me remind you, those three are 36, 37, and 36, or about to be. Okay, so don't come at me. That's really old in hockey years.
Well, it looks like they're doing one last run for the Stanley
Yes.
Cup next season, which is sad. So
Yes.
again, sad note.
But
But
you're the one bringing it down, man.
Yeah, but what Kyle was able to do by bringing in Ryan O'Reilly, and he brought in I'm like drawing a blank on who he brought in this past season. But he was able to build a solid team. And like what he did was great. It was the players just let him down when it came to the playoffs. Like, let's be real. So
For sure.
You can't blame him. What he was able to do was incredible. And if he's able to do it again for the Penguins, I mean, based off playoff experience with those core guys, like they got it. They got it. I mean, the Penguins could win the cup if the right moves are made. Right? I mean, if they want to do an immediate thing, like
yes,
if he can bring in the core people that he needs or the right puzzle pieces to that core, they got a solid chance. I mean, they almost had a wild card spot this past season. So it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. I think
it's a good hire.
I think Dubas is a lot of pressure. Well, look, I have to say that.
There's no more pressure in the NHL than it is pressure in Toronto. Let's be real.
I don't know that everybody would say that his tenure in Toronto was a success.
No, but there's so much pressure in Toronto.
True.
To do well. Like he has faced so much pressure in Toronto that like going to Pittsburgh, like I feel like it's almost like a weight off of his shoulders where there's not so much of like a spotlight on him to like do the thing, like do everything right. Right?
I don't agree. I think there's just as much pressure in Pittsburgh with that core, with the legendary Sidney Crosby in his final year of prime to win a Stanley Cup, and then you don't do it. And if you can't do it with that core in Toronto, and you can't do it with the young guys, and you can't do it with the old guys, then and I know that sounds bad. I don't mean to be like ageist and discriminatory there, but like we're talking facts here. Like just, I think there's even more pressure to do it there.
Yeah.
Cause like,
I'm just thinking like you're in Toronto, the hockey mecca of the world, right? You have Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner mostly. They haven't won the cup since what, like 1912?
Long time.
I'm just gonna 1912. I know it's not 1912, everybody. And I mean the media in Toronto alone has always been 10 times crazier than anywhere else, right? So I mean, I see your point. The last year potentially for Sidney Crosby to win a Stanley Cup, and you're getting hired to do it, to make it happen. A lot of pressure, but he has already won a few Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
He's got a great run. And it's like they have a better opportunity hiring him on now for next season than they have had this past season, or without him moving into the next season. So I think it's a win-win situation.
It's not a bad move. It's just a big, tough move for Dubas to really deliver. But I will give him this, though, that core in Pittsburgh, I think because of their experience and age, they're going to be more flexible and able to adapt to bringing in new guys. I think that is not going to be a deterrent for them. I think that is not something that the Toronto core is good at, is adjusting to the new people and being able to have that super duper team mindset like Crosby has. So if anybody, like if that's the right team to try to really do that with, but we'll be keeping an eye on the off-season trades and free agent market and see. I mean, he could bring Matthews there. Matthews could be like, forget it, Toronto, even though Toronto, like, he's like, I want to stay here. And Toronto's goal is to keep Matthews there. Like, you bring Austin Matthews to the Penguins.
Patrick Kane,
he's still recovering from surgery on his hip. He's out 4 to 6 months, so he'd miss the start of the season. Do you gamble on that? I don't know.
We'll see what Kyle does.
If Kane can play that way that he did in the playoffs and this whole season with the amount of pain that he was likely in, if he's healthy, he's got it. So, I mean, I don't really think that's a question of his health, but Kane's also in his 30s, so.
Yeah. That could be a good story for ESPN. Team full of guys in their mid-30s win the Stanley Cup.
Right. That's what they would write.
Yeah. That's probably what they would write.
This week's episode of the House of Hockey podcast is brought to you by Light the lamp during the hockey playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can make a $5 bet and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for the Hockey Podcast Network, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 and over in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms.
The Preds finally fired their coach, John Haynes, after a horrendous time together. And they pick up Andrew Brunette as their new head coach. So Brunette was the very first player to score a goal for the Preds in their inaugural season on October 13th, 1998, where he was coached by now GM of the Nashville Predators, Barry Trotz. What a full circle moment. And I think the Preds are in great hands with both of their GM and their head coach. How do you feel about that? You probably don't feel very much about it, but
I think it's a good move. It's a good, it's a confident, I would feel confident as a Predators fan.
Yeah.
Knowing that Trotz is at the helm, that he's not behind the bench because everybody has an opinion about his coaching style. How much is that going to trickle down into Burnett and the decisions that they make about the players and how they play their game? That's going to be interesting to see if Barry is going to take a little bit of a step back and let Burnett sort of run the game he wants to run, or is it going to be a Trotz game and that's the way that they're going to go after players? So I think it'll be interesting to see what they do, who they bring, how they change up their play, and if that makes a difference.
Yeah. I just feel like it's such like a Southern thing to do. Like, bring them on home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like a family affair, and they were able to like gather everybody back that like kind of put Nashville like on the map, maybe, if that makes sense. I'm excited. I feel like it's going to be a good thing. And they did, Coach went and did like a press conference, and you saw him like hugging and like high-fiving a bunch of fans and like being with like all the little kids and like smiling, and it just looked like a good time. So I feel like it's going to be good.
Yeah. It's a good future for the team. It might be a little rocky here in the next couple seasons, but
it's going to be better than what John Haynes did. Let's be real.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, but I do want to talk about Matt Duchene here for a second.
Yeah.
Matt Duchene posted a family picture when he was on a family vacation, and it's the first time his finger injury has been visible. So it looks like he's still recovering. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, Duchene was hit by a friendly fire shot by defenseman Dante Babro, on March 6th versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it hit his ring finger. Now, there was something that came out. He had said that he felt it, and when he took off his glove, he saw the tip of his finger still in his glove. Immediately skated off, right? So I was doing some research on this. I was like, dang, like what's still going on with his finger? Because it looks like his pinky finger is messed up, and it looks like his ring finger are messed up. Like the nails are like black, and like the one tip of his finger is black. And it's like, oh gosh, like I've been waiting for a picture of his finger. You have no idea. So I found this little report on him, and it said that he has had 2 surgeries to repair his finger, but the doctors couldn't reattach the tip. Instead, they reattached the nail and inserted a pin to help 2 broken bones heal properly. And Duchene quoted, "I've had a lot of injuries in my career, and a lot of them are kind of painful. I broke my leg pretty bad and had probably over 100 stitches in my face, all that kinds of stuff. That's when you kind of sign up for. But losing part of your body isn't one of them, so it's mentally a little tough." There was another part where he said that he didn't really realize what happened to his finger. So I don't know which article to really believe, but he says that when he took his hand out of his glove, he thought that his finger was just crushed. And so when he was sitting there talking to the doctor had said, "Where's your glove?" And he goes, "Why? Do you think my finger's in there?" And they kind of kept it from him.
Hmm.
So it's a little crazy, but his finger is in full force. I mean, but the doctor said that he is healing positively and he should have no problem playing fully come June. We're currently in June, so it's probably good. But like when I saw that picture and when I'm like reading this article, my finger started hurting for him. Like I couldn't imagine having to like I'd have PTSD putting my hand back into a glove at this point. And I'm sure it's still like tender and sore, but you know, I mean, I don't know how much of that finger he lost. It does look like it's probably the same size of his pinky. So like if I like compare my ring finger to my pinky, I guess that's a pretty big chunk.
It's not that much.
But it doesn't look that bad. It could maybe still be a little swollen.
I'm looking at the picture and I'm listening to you. It does look like he lost the tips of both of those fingers, the ring
It
finger and the
does, right?
pinky, and that they put the nail back on to make it look more normal or whatever. But as long as he can feel, that's the most
Yeah,
important thing. Like as long as the nerves are not damaged, you can
right.
still use that hand
Yeah,
and it's in a glove, so it's okay. And I
yeah,
fully understand the team's decision not to tell him that his finger was like detached in his
yeah,
glove, because when you're in a like traumatic, like it that's a like a must operate immediately situation, that is not a like
right,
wait. And so to
right.
not freak him out and have him like go into a state of panic, you
Right.
would want
Yeah.
him to just be kind of calm and like, it's
Hmm.
okay, they're pretty bad, it's busted, but we're gonna get you right into surgery. And you just like do what you can. I mean, that's what doctors do. They don't tell you that oh, by the way,
Yeah.
the two tips of your fingers are still in your glove, and you're like, you don't want to send somebody
Yeah.
into like that kind of state. It's not good for the body or the mind or healing, but
No.
that's
Yeah. This
pretty
headline,
wild.
the original headline that I had clicked on, it said Matt Duchene injury, quote, I wasn't sure if it was career threatening. And later
Right.
in this, it did, you mentioned tendons. Tendons, is that
Nerves.
what you said? Nerves. It said that the nerves were not damaged at all. So
Right.
he'll be fine. It's just he just lost the tip of his finger and they were not able to reattach it.
Yeah.
So, and then when he's skating off the ice, if anybody's still interested in this story, when he's skating off the ice, if you look at the picture where he's holding his hand up like this, you only see his ring finger bloody. The pinky does not look bloody at all. Nothing looks like it's going on with the pinky. So, um, do
And
what you will
just
with this information.
yeah, and just to clarify, he got hit with a puck, right?
He got hit with the puck.
Yeah.
He was standing in front of the net, and yeah, Fabro's got a hard shot, so
That's insane.
he tried shooting, and Matt was in the way, and it just hit his finger. He wasn't blocking it said that he was just struck by the puck.
Crazy.
So friendly fire, and he immediately skated off the ice.
So you said friendly fire, and I was like, oh, did they go like off range hunting and shooting and he got his finger shot off? That's why I asked. That was from the puck, right? Because I'm like, she said it was on in the game, but she said friendly fire. Now I'm confused.
Yeah,
So
I
okay.
don't know. I just like saying that, I guess.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's okay. And I
me
think
too.
it'll take a little time to figure out how to hold the stick a little bit, but our bodies adjust, and
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be okay. But also,
yeah.
oh wait, what? That's his left hand? That's the guitar hand. Doesn't he play guitar?
He
Or does he
does.
just
I
sing?
remember when we said that when he first got injured, I was like, he's a guitar player. I wonder how that's going to affect him. However, if I mean, he
It'll
probably can just make it do.
it'll
Is he
just be a little
right-handed or is he
harder.
left-handed?
I don't
I
know.
think he's right-handed. He does sing though, so
At
maybe
least
he'll
he's
learn to play like one of those he'll play like the guitar like laying on his lap because that would be really cool.
yeah. At
Yeah,
least he's got an alternate career if that whole hockey thing doesn't work
I
out.
know. I was just so excited to talk about this because I've been so invested in this guy's injury since March 26th. And he just went on family vacation last week where he was in full view, but he was fishing. So he's got movement. I'm happy for him. I
Good.
love Matt Duchene.
That's good. I love that
Yes.
you were so committed to this injury. This is so random. And I do have to say that we don't get enough coverage of this kind of stuff for
Yeah.
obvious reasons, of course,
Right.
because they don't like sharing what actually happened or what kind of surgeries they had, because it
Yeah.
just gives players ammo to try to hit them on that hand or hit Kane on the right hip or whatever. So I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what's going on
Talk
there.
about your boy Connor Bedard.
Hopefully he'll be my boy. I'm still just like, every time I read a Connor Bedard story, my glass goes half empty because I'm like, I just don't know what the Blackhawks are going to do. And if they screw this up, I'm going to be devastated. So
It should be half full because you have an opportunity and you should be hopeful for your team that you've been so down in the dumps of.
that's really
Glass half
hard to
full.
do when your glass
Glass
is half
half full.
empty.
No, it's got to be half full. You got to put that positive energy in the world. Come on.
All right. I just don't want to jinx it. Okay, Connor Bedard, the
No one's a
projected.
jinx but me in this room. Let's be real.
This is true. This is true. Your history of that is proven.
Yeah, that's
He,
proven.
he is the projected number one pick in the 2023 Upper Deck NHL draft, and he became the first player to win all three major trophies of the Canadian Hockey League awards: top prospect, top scorer, and the David Branch Player of the Year. This is because they didn't offer that last award before. That's something new. Connor McDavid won Top Prospect Player of the Year and Scholastic Player of the Year awards in 2015. So Connor Bedard is the first player since like Connor McDavid to win all of those awards and to play. And like the off-season training Bedard does, like, or whatever, his training routine, there's like a fan page and they like post his workouts. Dude is like hyper committed, super fit, almost McKinnon like in his sort of demeanor and dedication, and also a little Connor McDavid like with just sort of a straight face, not really showing any personality, which is fine. I just want to see how he does with the team aspect. Is he turning into this like ultimate McDavid kind of guy, or can he be the like Patrick Kane, Sidney Crosby kind of guy who can be elite but be able to find a groove with the team? I mean, maybe not. Okay, let me say more of like the Sidney Crosby, not Patrick Kane, more of the Sidney Crosby. Like, I'm gonna be watching. I want to see what he can do. I'm
I feel like
excited.
you did it. You said it right the first time. I think
Really?
he's going to be a hybrid between Bedard, or sorry, McKinnon and McDavid.
Okay, not Crosby. Okay.
Me
Okay.
personally.
Yeah, you can disagree.
Yeah. Well, we've done that twice this episode, so I had to.
Oh my God. We disagree
Just
on a
saying.
ton of stuff. Are you kidding?
Oh, you're
I'm
you're
frozen
frozen. Hold on.
and probably like
Okay, now you're back.
I was probably
Yeah.
like,
We disagreed on the pressure of Toronto versus Pittsburgh, and now we're disagreeing on Edmonton versus Pittsburgh, McDavid versus Sydney.
we disagree on Vegas.
We do.
I
We
like
disagree on a
Vegas,
lot
you
of
don't.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes this good.
Yeah.
How boring
No,
if we
but
agreed on
I
everything.
can see him having like that Crosby vibe, but based off of like his personality on what he's projected
Yeah.
and like you said, his workout routine, like he's definitely got like the McDavid personality, but the McKinnon work ethic.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah. And it's kind of a shame that we can't compare him to any of the other players, because there's so many players who have the work ethic of McKinnon. We just don't know about them. They don't get
Yeah.
talked about. They don't get featured. ESPN sure as shit isn't featuring them. They're not talking to a fourth liner on the freaking Tampa
Ryan
Bay
O'Reilly
Lightning.
is one of those guys. I mean, we've
Yes.
heard stories on him and we've seen, his kind of workout routine. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to know what these guys are doing in the off season, and not because I need proof that they're doing something. It's just, it's cool to see, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to know what their commitment is. I want to know how they approach the game and the off season and their training and their diet and exercise and how that affects
Hmm.
their play and why they choose those things. It's not because, yeah, we need more of that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we do.
we need a lot more, a lot of things. That's not English either, but have you shopped at Pure Hockey? They are America's largest hockey retailer with dozens of stores and the option to shop online. If you or any of your kids play hockey, Pure Hockey is the place to find just about all of your equipment, skates, sticks, gear, bags, jerseys, and accessories. Plus, Pure Hockey is one of our affiliate partners. Next time you break your hockey stick or your kid grows out of his skates, why not check out purehockey.com? While you are looking for hockey equipment, you can also browse around for merchandise from your favorite NHL team, you know who Breezy's and mine are, and make gift giving even easier for your hockey-loving friends and family. And do us a favor, use our special link for purehockey.com when you browse the site and make a purchase, because we'll receive a small commission, which helps me and Breezy create this podcast. Head to the episode's show notes for the special direct link to shop at purehockey.com. Exciting news for your girl, Hilary Knight.
Hilary Knight.
Whoop, whoop. She is obviously a U.S. hockey legend and is the first ever recipient of the International Ice Hockey Federation's Female Player of the Year award. She has led the U.S. women's national team to a gold medal this year in the IIHF women's championship. She led all players with 8 goals. She has scored 3 goals in the championship game against Canada, including the game winner this year. And she's a legend. She's a goddamn legend. And she deserves this award.
And she does crazy workouts because she shows you everything that she does. She shows you her commitment, and it like, she's an inspiration to so many people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if we were to see more of that, and then now you see her get rewarded for the work in a very unrewarding situation for women's hockey.
Yes.
First and foremost, like, it's so good to see. And I love following her on Instagram just based to see like her adventures, everything that she's doing. They post when they're playing. You see her workouts, you see her dog, you see her doing everything.
Yeah. You see her personal life. You see her traveling to see her girlfriend play overseas somewhere, and like, you see
they work out together. Like, you see the different sports like competing against each other, and it's so cool.
It is.
She's a legend. And she liked my Instagram post.
Yes, she did. She knows who Breezy is. I think she's a really good model of promoting, like, sharing the right amount of content, like the right amount of her life with us, that I don't think crosses any boundaries of like super personal, intimate kind of moments. Right. I think it's the right amount, and it lets you know what kind of person she is. At least more than we get from any of the NHL guys, but we're not getting the extremes of it either. I feel like it's the perfect balance. And I mean, some of the guys do. It's like some of the guys share certain things, but it's usually their wives, and we still don't get to really like see the guys because they're not, it's not about them on the wife's account, which is, I get it.
And a lot of the wives are private.
Yes. Yeah. I don't blame them. Yeah. I can't even imagine some of the stuff they probably get trash talked on their social media that's not even about what they're talking about. But kudos to Hilary. Round of applause. Also, we have to applaud her for like coming out, because it is Pride Month. It's June, and she went on another podcast to talk about her experience and why she did that. So if you want to take a listen to that, I don't want to misrepresent her words or say them out of context, but happy Pride Month. Get your Pride tape, get your Pride book. Bring it, bring it, bring it,
Bring it. Bring it on home, John B.
bring it.
Do you know what that's from?
No.
Dang it. Outer
Should I?
Banks. Come on.
What?
No.
Outer
Outer Banks.
Banks.
You gotta watch Outer Banks. Our girl Kelsey Ballerini is dating
I know.
the John B.
I don't know how long that relationship's gonna last, but it's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. I just love when she like changes the words in her songs, and then it's like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Bring it on home, John B. It's so funny. So, because she brought him to like her hometown, and like they went to like her old high school or whatnot, and it's like them walking on the field. She's like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
It's funny. They're cute.
People are so funny. I just love laughing at people, like with people, not at people. I'm not mean.
No, you're not mean. You are the farthest thing from mean.
Why, thank you.
My chainsaw experience was wonderful. I documented it on my @LadyOnTV account. It was a success. I love a chainsaw.
And the Aunt Tony content was fire.
Good. I got a new one coming this week. I can't overload us. I gotta ease it in here. I'm gonna show my first time using a jigsaw video. That's coming out.
Wow.
Impressive. Yeah, that's what I got going.
Nice.
What about you?
I'm working a lot. I got a new job. I can't say much about my job, but I got a new job. I've told Rae about it.
It's not with the league or anything. It's just like a security type of position that she can't disclose.
It's private. Which I have something.
What do you call it? Private what?
Private. I'm undercover.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I can say. So that's been fun. Our house is almost done. Yay. So we're moving in like 20 days or something like that. Which is cool. I don't really have any other information. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to pull something out of here real quick to see if I have anything interesting to say.
No, that's it. That's good. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby. It's the week of the year we all wait for. Stanley Cup Final.
And hopefully we have some great information to get this week to share with you next week.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.